Trickling in. I want to welcome everybody to Back to School Night, our first ever virtual Back to School Night. We're doing lots of firsts since the spring. And this first part of our evening is for our students, our families of students with special needs and 504s. And so if your student has an IEP or has a 504, we always feel like it's a good opportunity Back to School Night to just have a little time to answer questions from our families. We started doing this about 3 years ago and we got a really nice response. So even though we're virtual this year, we still wanted to make ourselves available, especially for our sixth grade families, but this is really for anybody who kind of wants a reminder about some of our programming and who to ask for what. And so we have a lot of people here for you to meet and see their face. They won't all speak, but we really wanted to make sure you had a visual connection to them today. Hopefully you also got to see our what I sent out today, which has people's faces, our little Meet MMS presentation, and you get to know a little bit about all of us. So for special education and 504s, the first and most important thing I think for everyone to realize is that we do, which is different from if your child's coming from elementary, we do have a full-time consistent child study team. And so Miss Henry is the child study team social worker, Miss Navas, school psychologist, and Miss Serpico, who's having a little bit of trouble with connecting, is our LDTC. And our child study team is, these are our case managers. This is our team that makes sure that if your student has a unique and specific educational need that's in their IEP, that they're supporting your child, they're supporting the family, and supporting teachers in making sure that IEP is implemented. So the first thing I'm going to do is have Miss Henry just talk a little bit about programming at our schools and a little bit about our MMS child study team. And everybody else, if other than Miss Henry, if you could mute so that everyone gets to see and hear Miss Henry.
Good evening, everyone. I am Valencia Henry, the child study team social worker at Maplewood Middle School, like Mr. Now noted. With me on here is also Vanessa Navas, our school psychologist, and Maria Serpico, the learning consultant. And together, as Ms. Bernal said, we're the full-time child study team at MMS. In regards to what we want you to know tonight, just a little bit about our programming at MMS. We do have several different types of programming, including inclusion classes, which is co-taught by a general ed and special ed teacher, pull-out classes, which are smaller special ed only classrooms, and also we have this year newly to us in a learning LLD class, language learning disabilities class. So those are a few of the programming as it relates to academics that we offer at MMS. And of course, we also have different services such as speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and counseling. So a broad span of programming that if your student is in need of any of those things or already have some of those things set in place in their IEPs, they will be getting service through those different avenues. Also, we want to make sure that we highlight that each student every year does have what's called an annual review. So that's a review of their IEP to make sure that the services that are currently in place are effective in supporting the student properly. And if not, we can definitely update that as it goes on, especially transitioning from elementary to middle school. There may be some things that we want to update. So as your students' annual IEP dates come up, we'll be reviewing that with whomever the case manager is. Another thing we want to highlight this evening is reevals. So because of everything that's going on right now with COVID-19, we are making sure that our families the students who are up for reevaluations this year are comfortable with in-person testing. So I do want to make sure that I mention that we are moving forward with reevals this year in terms of testing. However, the comfortability of the family, of course, has to be considered when it comes to testing in person. We do have the appropriate PPE gears. And if your student is to be tested this year for reeval, whether that's an educational or psychological evaluation, they'll be meeting at Columbia High School, which is where we're doing all of our testing to make sure that we keep it in one location, make sure that we're cleaning the facilities and having the gears for the different individuals that are testing. So if your child is one of those individuals that's going to be up for reeval this year, your case manager will reach out to you for a reevaluation planning meeting, and you can definitely discuss with them your comfortability level as it relates to the pandemic that's going on, and if you're comfortable with them coming in person testing. Okay. And last but not least, the different things you can reach out to us for this year is if there's amendments needed to the IEP, anything you want to discuss regarding programming, and if you just want to meet us tonight, we're having a meet and greet as well. So hopefully some of you have already met us. If not, hopefully tonight. And we do have one more meet and greet that we're going to be setting up before the 25th of September. So hopefully at some point you'll get to touch base with your case manager this year. And I think that's it for me.
And I'll just call on, I get Maria Serpico, who I don't think was on camera before. Maria, if you want to say hello, and also if you could speak to, for some reason a family doesn't know their case manager, how they go about finding that out.
Hi, I am Maria Serpico. I'm the learning consultant at MMS. And as of right now, everyone should have received a letter from the case manager. We all sent out our letters last week, and it stated who the case manager was. So it's either myself, Valencia Henry, Vanessa Navas, or if it's only speech, then it would be Diane Lake. So if you did not receive an email, then you can email either all of us or one of us, and we can figure out who the case manager is. And that's it.
Educational program, and it services a lot of students with special needs, but it does service some students in general education as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Patuco. I think you're muted, Ms. Patuco. I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. Hi, I'm Amy Patuco, and I'm the social worker for ISTEP. And ISTEP stands for In-School Therapeutic Education Program. It's a program for students whose social and emotional needs impact their functioning in school. And it's for students who need a bit more intensive mental health services and support in the school setting. So all students receive at least 2 counseling sessions a week, both individual and group. But there's a whole lot of support that students receive in addition to the counseling sessions. Based on needs, students sometimes receive daily check-ins, a supervised lunch, a check-in at the end of the day, crisis intervention, collaboration with parents and teachers, and consultation with outside mental health professionals. ISTEP also has an academic component where a special education teacher monitors the student's academic performance and intervenes as needed. Intervention can just be consulting with teachers and parents and kids. It can be modifying assignments, or it can either be conferencing with kids. Our referral sources are building administration, guidance, and the child study team. We typically do not get direct referrals from parents or teachers. And as Ms. Grinnell said, it is for both special education and general education students. If you have any questions whatsoever, I also have some links tonight where I'll be available. And you can always email me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patuco. And parents and families, one thing I didn't say in the beginning of the evening a few minutes ago is that we have a document we're going to send out in real time, like as soon as we finish, right around 7 o'clock. And it's the notes of all the different people and what they do related to special education and 504, is just kind of how we're organized. to support students. And so you'll get a document as a PDF, and that will kind of say, well, I remember meeting those people, but here's how my child might interact with some of those people, because we know it's lots of new names and faces. But we wanted you to see us live and you know, maybe not in person, but at least live and in real life by inviting some of the students that support your child, because we know we are in a unique situation. We're still not back in person. And so we really want to make sure you know us and can start to build your relationship with us to support your child. And with that, I am going to now turn it over to Mr. Brown, who supports and is the coordinator for 504s at Maplewood Middle School. He's one of our assistant principals.
Good evening. Can people hear me? Give me a thumbs up, Ms. Grinnell. Excellent. Good evening, everybody. Yes, I'm Louis Brown. I'm one of the 2 assistant principals here at Maplewood Middle School, and one of my responsibilities is to be the case manager for the 504 plans. 504 plans are a little different from an IEP. It's not the same as special services. 504 comes from Section 504 of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And essentially it started, you know, people who need to do a job, who have a disability, they have to be able to have access to their job to do their work. And in the educational field, it's expanded. So if you have a disability, we need to remove obstacles so you can do your job as a student, which is learning. So it could be a physical disability. The majority of our 504 plans are written for students with ADHD, but it could be anything. It could be anxiety disorder, could be a variety of things that may get in the way of a student accessing their education. So I saw a couple questions in the chat. It's different from, I'm the only case manager in the building for all the 504 plans, so you're not getting a letter about your child's case manager for an IEP. It's a different system. Those of you who have 6th graders, most of you I met with in the spring to just introduce myself. I don't think I met with every school. So if you haven't met me and you have questions, feel free to email me. I'm L Brown. In a minute, I'll put my email address in the question and answer so you can see that. And the important thing to know is that teachers have access to view your children's 504 plan through PowerSchool. The documents in there, there's an icon next to their name that indicates that they have a 504 plan. The teachers are responsible to read it and know what's in the plan. Please reach out to me if at any point you think that there's some concerns with a plan not being implemented properly, or if you think that it's not working and we need to adjust it. I'll say to everybody, it's not written in stone. We want to support your children. Every year I meet with everybody for an annual review. It's just a meeting with me. It's not with the team of teachers. And we, I get feedback from the teachers in advance, and we discuss what alterations, if any, we need to make to the 504, or even if the 504 is needed anymore. Ultimately, we want our students to grow out of needing the accommodations and supports. That said, we have a bit of a backlog from the spring. We didn't do a lot of annual reviews towards the end of the school year because of the uncertainty of what was going on, the unusual educational setting we were in. But now it turns out it's not such an unusual setting because we're still there. So I will be setting up meetings very soon for the people who had spring annual reviews that didn't happen. But know that your children's teachers, even though technically the 504 plan is expired, it's still in place. The teachers have a copy to refer to, especially now that we're going to be entering our 3rd week of school, and it'll be a little more real. We're sort of all used to now what school is like. So again, if you have any questions about your child's 504 plan, or if you're in this meeting and your child doesn't have a 504 plan, you think there are some learning issues that need to be addressed, feel free to reach out to me and I can answer your questions, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. And if you're just joining us, I know our attendees are slowly climbing. We will have our meeting for our entire community. You're welcome to be here, even if you're waiting for 6:45. So we still have another 15 minutes or so, and then will be some time for questions. We'll use the chat for questions. We may not get to all of them, but if you have a question, feel free to note it in the chat, and that'll be our next piece. Before
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yes.
There's a chat and there's a Q&A. So I think questions are going
I'm sorry, in the Q&A. Thank you for that, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Mr. Brown's always looking out for me. So one thing I thought was really important for this portion of the event, which we haven't always done, is just make sure our families of students with 504s or students with IEPs understand that while they have their case managers and they work with them, they still have complete and consistent access to their school counselor. And we're really, really proud that this year we have grade level counselors to have a much more manageable group for our counselors to work with them and loop with them. And so I want to just allow each counselor a few moments to just introduce themselves, give their name, and just a very, very quick little overview of your grade level role. So I'll start with our 6th grade counselor, who's new to us but doesn't feel new anymore, and that is Mr. Philemon.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is my first year to be a part of this community. My name is Mr. Philemon, and I am extremely excited to be a part of this new community. I'm excited to, give guidance, work with scheduling, work with the social emotional level with each student, and just ultimately to be a part of a mentorship. So I look forward to meeting everyone's child. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Miss Sudit, and she supervises. Well, that's not exactly true. Sorry, but she does work very closely, and she supports 7th grade.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Good evening. I am Miss Sudit. Just like Ms. Grinnell said, I am the 7th grade counselor. I work with kids, with a lot of different, things that might come about, a lot of scheduling, a lot of social emotional support, some conflict resolution if it arises. But really my main role is just to support and help kids in the way that I can. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working with everybody. Just like Mr. Philemon, I'm new to the district as well. So I look forward to getting to know everybody and hopefully getting to meet every single 7th grader. That's one of my goals while I'm here. So I'm really excited to be part of the Maplewood School District. So thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, our dear Miss Battle, who is very dear to Maplewood Middle School, and she is our 8th grade counselor this year.
Thank you. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to serve as the 8th grade counselor and to work alongside the entire MMS staff. But Ms. Sudit, Mr. Philemon, it's very true that they don't feel like they're new, that we've been working together for a really long time. We're here to support students both emotionally and academically, and just here to support you too as parents. I know we're in a different situation virtually, but we're here to help you in any way that we possibly can. We also have the opportunity to have 2 interns working with us this year, Wajdan Al-Tariq and Eric McNanny. So they'll be here to support students as well. I'm really thankful for this opportunity, and it's going to be great.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, I know that some people joined us after. Did I miss introducing anybody on the panel that joined later? I know our HSA presidents will be joining us in a few minutes, but for this portion of did I miss anybody?
The only people I see that you haven't introduced are the HSA.
Okay, and then Ms. Navas, you were muted earlier, so did you want to say a quick word, Ms. Navas, on our child study team?
Oh, hi, just wanted to say hi. I'm the school psychologist on the child study team, and I'm excited to work with everyone in Maplewood Middle again this year.
The only thing I'll add, I like to add this a lot because we like to realize people have lots of different access and that we want to accommodate our families however they need. So Ms. Navas is a Spanish speaker and Mr. Philemon is Haitian Creole speaking. And so we can assist our families in that way. If you have, members in your network that are having trouble connecting to the school, we do a lot of outreach, but we also can absolutely they're available for helping our families with any language. We don't want language to be a barrier in our community. So I just wanted to note that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brown and Mr. King to kind of read from the Q&A. And we will kind of, if you read the question, then I can say who might answer it. How about that? And we
That's great. I've answered most of the questions in there, but happy to read them.
Okay.
Just see if there's some that are relevant. One person asked, where would a teacher know about 504 plans? They didn't hear if it were Power School or Canvas. It is Power School. Then the question that I didn't answer, are IEPs on Power School as well as 504 plans?
Ms. Henry, would you like to discuss anything about the teacher's IEP, the access to the IEP for our families?
So there is a notification on Power School that tells the teacher that the student has an IEP. I forget what the icon is. And sometimes the accommodations come up, but teachers generally would reach out to us, or they get a caseload at the beginning of the school year, so they know which children in their classroom have IEPs, and then they go into frontline to see what those accommodations are to make sure that they're supporting the student.
There were a few questions about who should someone contact if they had questions about a 504 plan that had started in the spring but then didn't finish up, and other questions about 504 plan, and my answer was me. I put in my email address in the answer. Someone brought up the current schedule is incredibly hard for students who need to move, even if they're allowed to stand. There's not a lot of time to have a break. How can this be addressed? I answered that you're not the only person who has shared that concern with us. We're looking at options, and stay tuned. And
Mr. King, can you just put the slide that has the email addresses of the members of the leadership team and also the school counselors? I think it's the next one. There we go. Back up a little. Thank you. So we'll just leave that up for a moment, but we are sending out a document that has the names of different people that support students with 504s and IEPs, who to ask for what is in that document. And then, of course, we're finalizing a directory and a kind of a modified handbook for virtual learning that's all coming out to our families shortly as well. We wanted to make sure that in the meantime, as that's finalized, that we have this other document that's captures what we've talked about a bit, who to see for what from this meet and greet. So feel free to take a picture of your screen now with those email addresses.
Someone was happy to hear that we have 3 counselors, and we are maybe happier than you are to hear that we have grade level counselors. There was...
Yes, we're very grateful for the Board of Ed approving that request. It's been a long time request, and now more than ever, we want to make sure we have the right support. So we're very happy to. What were you saying, Mr. Brown?
No, I was just going to read the next question. Is there a way for student to change a class? The answer is we really are very reluctant to change classes unless there's a very specific reason. So, you know, it opens up a can of worms if we start moving people around. So I would say reach out to your child's guidance counselor, your school counselor, grade level school counselor, and if you have that question, and they can address it and see what the concern is.
Mr. Brown, I did have Ms. Conway's name on there. Do you want to touch at all on her role in the 504 process?
Ms. Conway is our school nurse, and as some of the 504 plans are because of medical issues, she's involved in helping us direct, implement or support the student with particular medical concerns that may be part of the 504. But in general, if it's a learning issue, she's not directly involved. There is a question, how are kids, I'm sorry, I skipped one. For kids with 504s, how do we find out who the support teachers are in certain classes? And if there's not a support teacher in each class, who, sorry, if the question popped around, who does the child go to if they need extra help? They go to their teacher. 504 students do not, in-class support is something that's part of an IEP. It's not part of a 504. Your child may be in a class that's supported. They would know that because there are 2 teachers in their classroom. But their teacher is always the person to go to for help. In the next week or so, we'll be beginning afternoon time. Students will have access to teachers for support. Who provides counseling to students who have counseling in their IEP?
So there are 3 different social workers that do that. Mr. Stoudemire does the vast majority of the counseling in IEPs. Ms. Patuco does it for students who have IEPs who are in the I-STEP program. And then we also have 2 other social workers who are here 1 day a week providing IEP counseling. Arelis Tapia is one, and Kate Lazen is the other. And all of that information is in the document that I'm going to send that, again, goes over who to ask for what and who does what.
How are kids able to use their helper teachers? They're so valuable in making my daughter have a successful 7th grade. How do you do this virtually? So I think if by helper teacher, you mean an in-class support teacher, the classes are co-taught. Some classes are co-taught and both teachers are available and will be supporting students in the class. And also, they'll have ways to meet with individual or small groups within the class. And then also during the afternoon support time that I mentioned earlier. And I guess I want to add to my answer earlier. If you want to know if your child is in a class that has in-class support, you can reach out to me or the counselor. We can answer that question if they don't know.
I would also add, I didn't see if Mr. Stoudemire was able to join us. He also has 3 interns that will mostly support general education students as well. So we have a nice full intern program to make sure that there's opportunities to expand all the different people who work with kids. It's a big school. So a note about that, and you'll learn about them if your child ends up working with an intern. Same would be true for the guidance interns. They'll really be doing a lot of working together.
The next question is, my grandson's at Marshall Elementary. Am I in the right meeting? Probably not. This is for Maplewood Middle School. So our child study team is really just servicing the child study team at Maplewood Middle School. So Marshall has their own child study team. Another question, since there are probably a number of students on 504 plans for ADHD and executive functioning issues, is there a way that students can receive some training on planning, organizing with Canvas? That's an interesting question. Traditionally, we've used our social work interns to set up planning and support and organizational sessions, and we can look to do that this year. Our hope is that to some extent having everything in one place, the one-stop shopping of Canvas, will be helping with students organize because everything's right there. They don't have to go looking in a variety of areas to find what they need to do.
But that said, we have had kind of small organizational meetings. That's something our school counselors do from time to time too, just kind of help. They've had one-on-ones with kids who just kind of need to understand their schedule and understand Canvas. And in just a moment, Mr. Brown, with the questions, I do see Miss Conway on here, our fabulous nurse. So I did want to give her a chance to come off mute and introduce ourselves, because I know everybody wants to know their school nurse.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hillary Conway, and I am new to the school this year, and I look forward to meeting everyone, and especially meeting the kids in person once we are back in school. But please, if you need anything in the meantime, do not hesitate to reach out. You can reach me on the district email. And I look forward to working with you all and having a successful school year.
Thank you, everyone. So we have 2 more minutes to read some of the questions, Mr. Brown, and then we're going to move right into our welcome to our larger community. That's starting at 6:45.
The next question, how can confirm if the 504 IEP documentation is in PowerSchool? If you have a question about that, certainly reach out to the case manager for all of the 504s. It's me, Louis Brown. And then if your child has an IEP, you should, as Ms. Serpico said, you should have received a letter from the case manager. My son was involved in a talk group. Oops. I might just skip through. In a talk group with other students guided by the social worker at Tuscan. Does MMS have that? Yes, the IEP counseling, there's certainly some social work groups for students who have IEP counseling, and then we also set up other groups with our social work interns as well for students who don't have IEPs or 504s, and for students who have IEPs and 504s.
And we know that we could spend longer than half an hour on all of these important topics, but we hope we've given you, first of all, just a chance to match a name with a face. We really wish we were meeting you in person. I know that maybe you're hearing that more than you'd like to hear, but it really is true. We thrive on just being with our community, but we're happy to do it in this way. While this is the way that we do it to keep everybody safe. At this point, I'm going to keep moving to our welcome to everybody. I know we're slowly, I'm just going to do like a 1-minute grace period. Mr. King, why don't you go back to the slide that has our social media, kind of more in the beginning of the presentation, and we'll just leave that there for a moment. Take a minute to follow us. We do lots of silly posts, informational posts, just things that let you know what's going on in our community, and we try to keep it updated because we know it's a way to connect. Although every now and then I get a notification from a kid liking a post, and I'm like, that is during school time. You should not be liking that post. But, you know, not that much, mostly just parents that I see. So people are joining us slowly. Well, I'm going to give us 1 more minute before we kind of do the welcome. And again, at this point, our child study team and counselors, I'd like you to stay on. Our child study team, you can say your goodbyes and waves, and same with Ms. Patuco. And we'll just have our leadership team and our HSA and our counselors stay on. Thank you, child study team and Ms. Patuco. I'll start in just a moment. But we'd love for you to follow us. We have a lot of fun on social media. We try to capture things in real time that are happening. Oh, I see people following. I'm getting notifications. That makes me happy. So we're at about a little under, what am I seeing here? A little under 200 people. I'm sure people will be joining us slowly, or else they might come right at 7 to focus on the teacher meetings. We understand that. The teachers are the celebrities of the evening. But I want to take a moment to introduce my leadership team. Can you go back to that slide, Mr. King? Yes, this is how we're looking these days with you know, socially distanced and in our masks. Our masks on there say committed assistant principal and principal even from a distance. And we really want to be as accessible to you all as possible during distance learning. We're here to get back to you with whatever it is you or your child needs. So don't hesitate to reach out. And again, this presentation will go out. Don't worry about, you know, taking down everything. We'll send this out to everyone. Introducing yourself.
Is it my turn to go? You froze for a second. I apologize.
Yes, it's your turn. Hopefully my connection is not acting up.
Hello, everybody. I'm Russell King. I'm the assistant principal at Maplewood Middle School. I'm going to be working with the 7th grade population. I'm excited to make connections with each and every one of your child, and I can't wait to meet you guys. It's unfortunate that we're not in the building, but when we are, I can assure that you'll see my face constantly and with a smiling face, and I look forward to working with every single one of you. I can't say that enough.
Thank you, and I'm Ms. Grinnell. This is my 5th year at Maplewood Middle School. I love this school. I love this community. I'm a resident. I'm a Columbia High School graduate. I really believe in our schools. My own kids go to the schools here. This is a special place, and I really want our distance learning to work for everybody. I'll touch just a little bit on our philosophy around distance learning at Maplewood Middle in just a moment. But I just want to welcome you to our school year. We hope that you've been responded to. That's really something we're passionate about as a team. Really everybody is, but our leadership team especially, we really aim to be responsive. So we just hope you're off to a good start, and we're really glad to serve this community. Mr. Brown?
Hello, my name's Lewis Brown. For those of you who have had children through Maplewood Middle School, you know me. For those of you who are new to Maplewood Middle School, it's nice to meet you. I've been in the school at Maplewood Middle School since before your children were born. I'm pretty sure every child in the middle school at this point, that's the case. And I've been in the district since a few years before that. So I've been around. I love this district. This has been my career. It's such an exciting place to work. Our school is an amazing school, amazing teachers, an amazing administrative team, and most of all, amazing, challenging, but wonderful students.
Thank you. You can keep going, Mr. King. So this is a little bit about our thinking around virtual learning. What's most important in virtual learning is that we're building community and connection while we're apart, that we're being responsive. So I mentioned that in our leadership team, and that's what we want, and that's what we promote for our students. So making adjustments when we need to, hearing from our kids about how things are going, and then promoting critical thinking. You know, the opportunity now is not for, and really we're always promoting critical thinking, but more than ever during virtual learning, we want to pay attention to just what's going on in the world and our middle schoolers' responsiveness to their response to it. Middle schoolers are hardwired to have an opinion, as you well know, and hardwired to really have ideas and for their voices to be heard. What you will find now with your child's teacher is that they're trying to learn about who they are and their interests, how they learn, and they want to know some of their baseline knowledge or some of their prior knowledge. That's what's happening now. There's not necessarily heavy content. They might be starting to dip into that, but that's what's happening in our classroom now, and that's really what's most important to happen in the classroom now. You can keep going, Mr. King. And so this is our information. I'll leave it up for just a hot second, but we will send this presentation. Our school nurses here, you can wave. This part is short, so we're not going to have everybody speak. And then I'm going to have the counselors really quickly just say who they are and what grade they serve, and then we'll keep going. So how about we start again with Mr. Philemon? You're muted, Mr. Philemon.
Sorry about that. I'll start all over. My name is Mr. Philemon, and I am the 6th grade school counselor.
Thank you, and Ms. Sudit, and you see these emails here if you need to follow up with your child, and here's the grade level counselor, Ms. Sudit.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Miss Sudit, and I am working with the 7th grade this year.
Fabulous Miss Battle.
Hi, I'm April Battle, and I have the pleasure of working with grade 8 this year. Thank you.
So all of our counselors have links in the document that you got. If you want to speak and check in with the counselors, just in addition to the teachers, they are available this evening too for you to hop into some Google Meets. Can you keep going, Mr. King? And now another fabulous duo, our co-presidents from our Home and School Association. If you're new to us, Home and School Association is what you would have thought of as the PTA in elementary school, and Kelly Harris and Veronica Olazabal, who both have 7th graders, are your co-presidents. So I will call on Veronica first.
Actually, Kelly's going to go first this time.
Oh, I didn't know you had a plan.
No, I know we didn't. It's so good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Harris. I'm one of the co-presidents of the HSA. As Ms. Grinnell said, my daughter Kate is a 7th grader at MMS, and in a moment you'll meet my amazing co-president Veronica. So I'm here to tell you why you should join the HSA or sign up for our newsletter, find us on social media. Really, some of the reasons to join the HSA include, getting connected. There's no better way to know what's happening at MMS. As a full-time working mom of 3, I always felt that I couldn't keep track of what the heck was going on at school. I definitely took it to the extreme by becoming co-president, but you can just be a member or keep track of what's going on. It's definitely helpful. We also have some great resources. The HSA offers a variety of programs, and you also get to know where to go when you need something by being part of the HSA. You get to tap into a function. Our functions, even though, we're in this weird time of everything being virtual, there really are opportunities to meet parents and teachers, build rapport, discuss issues that are on your mind. share your ideas, concerns, experiences. And again, as someone who works outside the home, this has been one of the best parts of being part of the HSA. You know, I don't have those play dates during the day, so it really has been an opportunity for me to connect. It also gives you an opportunity to speak up. It can be a way for you to more effectively suggest change at MMS. Veronica and I are always listening to the feedback from families, and when appropriate, or sharing that with building administration. And you really can witness improvement by getting involved at MMS. You'll be part of the solution, helping to make positive changes. We play an important role, and we like to see improvement through advocacy and really fundraising for curriculum-based programs and social events. So really just find us on social media. You have the email here and the website. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Veronica.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. And then to add to what was just shared and what is on your screen, this year our plan is a little bit different given that we're in the current situation that we're in. So we see ourselves as a bit of the connective tissue between the teachers, between the administrators, between the district, between you, and between all of the students. And so please use us to help you with your causes, to get clarity around particular issues, and specifically because we're in this virtual world. We are also here this year to ensure that all students have access to the supplies or the tools or the content needed to succeed in this global pandemic, whether it be something like supplies, like art supplies, or whether it be something like access to school meals. Again, we serve as conduits to the various different programs that are already available. And because resources are so scarce, we want to ensure that we're being very efficient and not duplicating. And so please do come to us if you have an idea, or if you have a resource, or if you're wondering where these resources are. And then finally, we're here to secure the sustainability of the HSA, helping each other as a board, but then also as you, to continue to grow and to create a culture of transparency and trust. And that is a theme for this year. We also launched, if you were part of these conversations last year, you know this, but if you're new, we launched a new racial justice committee this year, which is exciting, and thinking about how to surface these issues and make them very accessible to all of us in this global virtual world. So please stay tuned. We launched a sunshine committee, given that there are new teachers that are new parents or new students that need to be welcomed, and being there to help support some of those very low moments in all of our community that we've experienced across the past year. And then finally, we are relaunching, which is the exciting part, our spirit wear this year. So we're calling it reopening our spirit wear store. We have new swag, including masks, that you will soon see if you follow the HSA Facebook page. And as a little bit of a caveat, there are some pre-screening questions, because we don't want just anyone joining our Facebook page and hovering over us. And there have been lurkers. So please do answer the question if you're joining. Do you have a child at MMS? And do you agree to the terms? The other way to find out about how to access things like spiritware or donations or things like that is to sign up for the newsletter. And you can do that on our website, mmshsa.org. And we try to keep everybody aware of things, particularly if you're not on Facebook and not on Instagram and not on Twitter. And do not read your email. This is a good way to stay abreast of the various different things that are happening, usually this week. So it's a very timely resource. So thanks so much. And over back to you, Ms. Grinnell.
Can you just list the name of the Facebook pages? I don't think that's on this slide, so at least people can hear them.
Sure. It's MMS Families. And the other page is our official MMS HSA Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully you can tell by these two on this panel, we work really closely. I just keep lucking out with HSA co-presidents. We've enjoyed a wonderful working relationship, and they do really a lot of hard work, volunteer work for our community. So we're really grateful for them. You can keep going, Mr. King. We're gonna talk about how to find classes. Oh, one quick thing, Mr. King, why don't you speak on your slide, and then Mr. Brown will finish us out here.
Yeah, so if you are experiencing any kind of technical difficulties, you're having issues with the Chromebook, maybe you need a Chromebook, hotspot connectivity, or issues with Canvas, feel free to email info@smsd.k12.nj.us and copy me on the email. I will closely monitor it and try to find a quick solution. I also know that the local library is offering internet connection as well, so that is a great resource that you could use. In the meantime, if there's something that arises and needs to be addressed immediately.
And again, Mr. King is going to be kind of wrapping up if there's an issue with your child getting into class one day, and email him, email info, so we can see if we can help you with a technical issue, and Mr. King will resolve your child's attendance for the day. So we'll make sure that's repeated other places. But again, if you're trying, to get in and can't, Mr. King should be included in that communication. Mr. Brown is going to finish us out to just remind you how to find your child's class for our first ever virtual back to school night. And again, this presentation is emailing out. If you have specific questions about curriculum, I did list all of the supervisors' email addresses here. Again, really specific curriculum questions, go to the supervisors. But here goes Mr. Brown.
All right. So the important thing is I'm going to talk fast because it's already 7 o'clock, and so our evening has begun visiting teachers. You need a copy of your child's schedule. You need to know who your child's teachers are and what class they're in. There was a PDF that was mailed to you with all the links, and you can go visit whichever classes you want to in each of the time slots. So Mr. King, if you just go to the next slide. So for example, here, this is an example of 6th grade. In the 7 to 7:09 time slot, you'll see 6th grade is going to language arts, science, social studies, and grade 6 math. In grade 6, there's 2 math classes, grade 6 and pre-algebra. So if you go to the teachers listed there, and your child's in pre-algebra, you're going to be hearing about a different class. So you find your child's teacher, click on that link, and then at 7:10, you see, whoops, keep it right there. If your child's in Chinese, you would click on Ms. Chang's link, etc. So throughout the night, they're 9-minute intervals, and you're clicking on the link of your teacher. It's not necessarily attached to a period. So the first thing is not first period. It's just if you want to go hear about language arts first, you can go hear about language arts first. The last thing I will say is be patient. This is our first time doing this. It's not going to go perfectly. I'm troubleshooting right now. I just emailed a link to all the families of Ms. Feeney's students. She's a 7th grade math teacher. Her link wasn't working, so we had to change the link, and I just emailed that to you. So maybe be looking at your email as well if you're unable to get into a link. So be patient, have fun. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit about how our school works and what your children are in store for this year.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and welcome to the 2020-21 school year. Have a great year. Good night. And I'll let Keith know to stop the recording unless you know how to do it, Mr. King. He said I could text him.
I'm going to go troubleshoot.
Thank you, sir. I'll stay on just to make sure he says that the recording stopped. You guys can jump around. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the panel. Thank you, my screen sharer. As always, good to see you, Miss Conway. You look lovely.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Looks like it's still recording, so I'm just gonna make sure there's no one talking on there. He's on the South Orange Middle one, checking in on them. My children didn't infiltrate. That's nice.
Look at that. It's a good night for you.
All right. He said